Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson.
20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis.
Oh, my God.
Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Welcome back to another episode of the Ian Fritz Show. Another show. We've got another good one for you guys. And we've got the Week 7 recap. A little bit different layout of the show tonight. I wanted to do a little bit something different. So really we're only recapping one game because I think there was really only one game worth talking about this weekend. So obviously we're going to talk about Washington, Oregon, some of the storylines in that game. What else we got in the show? We've got the fan favorite segment, the What If poll. It's my favorite segment. It's your favorite segment. It's everybody's favorite segment. So that's going to be a fun one to get into. A lot of movement this week. A lot of movement, as always, because that's what it should happen. And then we've got some end-of-season predictions. I wanted to get these out here halfway through the year, see what's going to happen at the end of the year, what I think is going to happen, what it's going to look like. You guys already know who I think is going to win the Natty, but I'm going to get it, full layout, conference champs predictions and playoff predictions. So we're going to go into that after week 7. And then we've got my picks recap, little update, see how we're doing on the year. 6 weeks in, see how we're doing, what the record is, what it looks like. So Washington, Oregon, that's going to be the first thing on the agenda. Before we get into that, guys, if you haven't gone outside today, I said it last time, go outside today. Maybe, it looks like where I am, it's a little windy, maybe a little cooler day. So maybe put on a sweater, put on a sweatshirt. It's hoodie season, guys. One of the best times of the year. It's football weather out there. So get outside, get some sun, get out in creation, guys. It's pretty good out there, okay? Got the long sleeve on because it was a little chilly this morning when I was outside. So that's what we got going on right now. So without further ado, let's get into Washington, Oregon. Hopefully you've gone outside by now. Hopefully you paused the video, came back, and now you're back. Okay, Washington, Oregon. Wow. What a game, guys. What a game. A lot happened in this game. I had Washington. I picked Washington to win. I switched my pick about 125 times leading up to the game. In the show, I picked Oregon in the beginning of it. Then I picked Washington at the end of it in the Week 7 preview show. And throughout the week, I tweeted out, hey, I'm switching my pick to Oregon. And then things unfolded throughout the week before the game on Saturday. About 10:30 a.m., I tweeted out all my picks for the day. If you're not following on Twitter, by the way, go over there. Go over to X, follow the Ian Fritz Show. We've got some good stuff going out there. A lot of tweets, a lot of comments on things. I'm getting a lot of activity on there. Got into a little bit of argument with a guy. Pretty fun. So if you want to see that, hop over on the X, on the Twitter. Follow at Ian Fritz Show. It's a good time. Anyways, tweeted out that I picked Washington before the game. Turns out, give me the round of applause I deserve because I was right. Didn't feel great about it, but I was right. Washington won this game. Now, this game right here, NCAA football, instant classic. That's what this was. Instant classic. 2 instant classics in a row. OU, Texas last weekend. Washington, Oregon this weekend. This game was fun. Start to finish, this game was fun to watch. Started out, Washington, punt, whatever. Then Washington goes, Michael Penix, knifing up that Oregon defense to start the game. And then from there, the ball got rolling. We started seeing these offenses do what they do, and that's score points. We had 6 lead changes in this game, but it felt like there were 150. It really did. I mean, this game was back and forth, momentum swings left and right the whole game. It was, if you didn't watch this, go back and watch the game, because that's how good this game was. It was incredible to watch. 2 elite teams. I mean, just two very good football teams. And we'll probably see them a little later in the year. That's a little teaser for the predictions. So, Oregon, their first touchdown. They're down 7. They get a touchdown. They go for 2 to take the lead right out of the gate. They just wanted to get a 1-point lead. Wow, okay, all right. Don't see that very often. They get it. They're up 8-7. And then the offenses do what they do. Michael Penix, Bo Nix, they were having a day. Bo Nix, not Bo Penix, combining their names. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, 2 quarterbacks that are top 5 in all of college football. These guys were getting it done with their arms. Bo Nix was getting it done with his legs when he needed to. When the pocket was collapsing from Washington, He was bobbing and weaving. He was throwing the ball well. I mean, it was a fun one to watch with these guys slinging the ball. Now, Bucky Irving, that Oregon running back, guys, should have mentioned him in the preview show. Because this guy, wow, he might be the best running back in college football. He might be. I mean, there were several plays in this game where Washington was in the backfield, had Bucky Irving for a 2-3 yard loss, no gain maybe, and this guy just ducked. He went through a couple guys' legs. I mean, he made nothing turn into a 12-yard gain 5 or 6 times in this game. It was fun to watch that guy play football. Unfortunately, lost, but fun to watch Bucky Irving. That dude, probably the best running back in college football from what I saw yesterday. I mean, he was electric to watch that guy run the football. Now, Rome Odunze. I mentioned him in the preview show. Rome Odunze and that Washington wide receiver core. Now, I don't brag often, but I said it in the preview show. I said, maybe we'll cue the clip in there. I said, these wide receivers for Washington are going to get the best of those Oregon cornerbacks. I don't care how good the Oregon cornerbacks are, because these wide receivers for Washington, elite. I mean, just an elite core. And they did. They got the absolute best of those Oregon cornerbacks. Poor guys back there. I mean, they had no chance. No chance against Rome Odunze and company. Those got Polk. I mean, these guys were balling out yesterday, making just unbelievable contested catches, just clean routes. I mean, they're incredible to watch. They are truly just fun to watch, this offense from Washington. Okay, Rome Odunze, that guy up there with Marvin Harrison Jr. for best wide receiver in all of college football. From what I saw yesterday, that guy is incredible to watch, okay? All right, let's get into this right here. Oregon. I completely forgot about this, to be honest, after the game. It just went out of my mind because of how the game ended. But right before the end of the game here, Oregon, Washington's driving. They're down by 4. They get to the 1 yard line. They have 4 plays from the 1 yard line. Oregon gets a goal line stand, just like OU last weekend against Texas, except instead, Washington went on to win this game because Texas couldn't do that. Oregon had a goal line stand. Now, that was incredible to watch, guys. You have the best offense in all of college football on the 1 yard line, and for some reason, they didn't throw the ball on the 1 yard line. Now, normally you would say just pound the rock, get it in there, get the ball in the goal, run it in there. Not for Washington. That's not their offense. Their offense is Michael Penix dicing the defense up. That's what they do. And they didn't do that at all on the 1 yard line. It was kind of crazy to watch. It had something to do, I think, with Michael Penix's injury. He was holding his tummy a little bit. He was getting up off the deck, hurting, grimacing. Tough to watch. You never want to see your player go down like that, be injured, and try to tough it out. But he did. He toughed it out. Oregon had that goal line stand. Then they went on a 5-minute drive. That was 7 minutes left in the game. Oregon went on a 5-minute drive down to Washington's 45-yard line. And they get down to a 4th and 3. Okay, there's 2 minutes left in the game. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game. Washington has no timeouts. Oregon goes for it, doesn't get it. Washington gets the ball, 2 minutes left. And you're like, whoa, they're going to go down the field. They're going to score a touchdown, win the game with no time left. Wrong. Washington just decides to score in about 10 seconds, okay? They scored in 2 plays. Just an absolutely beautiful pass from Michael Penix Jr. to Rome Odunze. I mean, it dropped. I mean, it was very fun to watch that guy throw the ball yesterday. I mean, it was fun to watch. Just 2 plays. You would think, I even tweeted out, I said, I think this might be a situation where Washington scored too quickly. And it wasn't, because their defense ended up holding on for that last minute and 50 seconds that Oregon had the ball. So Oregon goes down the field, gets about the 40-yard line, 35-yard line, don't remember exactly, and they kick a field goal as time is expiring, and they miss. The guy pushed it wide right, and Washington wins by 3. Incredible football game, instant classic, NCAA. Can't wait for the new game to come out, because we're going to get to play things like that. We're going to get more instant classics in fantasy world. But we had a real one yesterday. Now, I want to talk about Dan Lanning. Got to take a sip from the glass here. Don't have a straw, forgot it, but we're okay. Not as good as that straw, guys. Not as good. Okay, Dan Lanning. I want to talk about some decisions he made, because there's a theme with Oregon head coaches and just being kind of delusional in the head sometimes. You have, Mario Cristobal, now Miami head coach, but when he was Oregon's head coach, he was doing some crazy things in his brain, just like Dan Lanning was in this game yesterday, okay? let's talk about it. End of the half. Oregon's down 4. It's 18-22, I believe. 18-22. They have the ball on the 3-yard line or whatever. It's 4th and goal. Doesn't matter. They have 3 seconds on the clock. So they got to kick a field goal, get it down to a 1-point game. They get the ball coming out of second half. Or they can try and get a touchdown, go ahead. Now, they didn't kick a field goal. They went for it. Terrible play call. Try to sprint out to the sideline. I mean, that leaves you with one option. If that option's not there, it's hard to score on those types of plays. So didn't like the call, but I didn't like the going for it either. And Dan Lanning did the same thing later in the second half, third quarter sometime. They get down to the 8-yard line. They get 4th and 3 or whatever. And instead of Dan Lanning kicking a field goal, he decides to go for it again. And they didn't get it. Washington gets the ball and gets a chance to go put more points on the board. Now, these two calls specifically, I don't like. Now, I don't like them because you're in a hostile environment. I mean, those noise bouncer offers, hopefully you saw them in the game. Those noise bouncer offers were doing work for Washington yesterday in the game. They were making that place loud. Shout out to those fans. Shout out to those noise bouncer offers as well. They were making that place loud. It was hard. It was hard to communicate for Bo Nix out there. Hard to hear anything. Hard to make the right decision. And I think in that environment, when you're in a hostile environment like Washington for Oregon, I think you have to take the points whenever you can get them. He had 2 chances to take 3 points twice, so 6 points overall. They ended up losing by 3. Now, I'm not saying that if they would have made those field goals, if they would have taken them, they would have won the game. But it's hard to argue that those points didn't matter when he left them on the board. You've got to take those points when you get a chance in a big road environment like that, in a big-time game. Points always matter. You always take the points in a big-time game like that. Now, maybe if they were at home, I can see it. I can see it a little better. But on the road, in that environment, you always take the points. Didn't make sense from Dan Lanning. However, a lot of people disagreed with his 4th down call to end the game. To go for it with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left or whatever. To go for it in that scenario. Now, I disagree with that. I think Dan Lanning made the correct call going for it there. Why? Well, again, he's on the road, hostile environment. If he gets this 4th down conversion with 2 minutes left in the game, they win the game. Oregon wins the game. Washington has no timeouts left. They get a 1st down, they can knee it out, and they win the game. Now, maybe he wouldn't have tried to knee it out like Mario Cristobal. I don't know. But if they did knee it out, they win the game. So I think when you have a chance, I mean, this is, if they get the 1st down, you win. So you have a chance to win the game there, and I think you take that in the environment that they did have. So I think that choice was correct, but he made some questionable decisions that shouldn't have put himself in that spot later on in the game. So Dan Lanning, you got to take the points on the road like that, man. You got to take the points. You got to take the points. Now, let's get to the man of the hour, okay? We've got our certified stud muffin, okay? Everybody knows who it is. Let me take a sip. Oh, spilled some there. It's okay. Nothing too big. Just water. Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., he is, I believe, the 5th certified stud muffin of the year. Deservedly so. I mean, this guy, if you watch some of the throws he has, I don't think there's a more accurate quarterback in college football. This guy, now, his numbers yesterday, 60% completion percentage. However, a lot of that was throwing it away when the pocket was collapsing and he was getting under duress. So he was smart throwing it away, not throwing it in traffic or whatever. So that docked it a little bit. But when he needed to make plays, he made plays. When he needed to throw it in a tight window, he threw it in a tight window and the wide receivers made the catch. Like, he was dropping it just in the breadbasket. The receiver didn't even have to do it. He just put his arms out and it just fell right in there. He makes those wide receivers look incredible. They are incredible. He makes them look even better. Okay? So his numbers yesterday, 60%, 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. The pick was, the wide receiver fell down. It looked like it was a miscommunication, so I don't really fault him for that. But these 4 touchdowns, beautiful throws, beautiful catches, and one game-winning drive. So, one game-winning drive. He also played the entire 4th quarter just grimacing in pain, his tummy. It looked like it was hurting. Looked like it was hurting him hard. And he played that entire 4th quarter with that injury, whatever it might be. I don't know if we'll find out later in the week or not. But this guy battled through injury. He had a game-winning drive, got his Heisman moment. Him and Dylan Gabriel, only ones in the country with the Heisman moment. So he got that secured, got the win secured. Second best win in the country right now. Michael Penix Jr., you get a certified stud muffin. You absolutely deserve it. Let's give a round of applause for Michael Penix Jr. Good for you, man. So he should be leading the Heisman conversation right now. His numbers are off the charts. Michael Penix Jr., although certified stud muffin is a better award than the Heisman Trophy because not as many people have them. Not as many people have a certified stud muffin. So you get one. 5th one ever. Congratulations, MPJ. You deserve it. Now, another thing from this game that I think deserves to be talked about, as well as the OU-Texas game last weekend. Those two games, and I have a feeling that the Penn State-Ohio State game this weekend in Week 8 is going to produce the same feelings that I have. These past 2 weekends, absolutely, without you, I mean, you can't deny it. You can't deny it, and if you deny it, you're lying to yourself, you're delusional, and you're crazy, okay? They show, without a doubt, that we need a 12-team playoff. We need it, and I wish we had it this year. We're going to get it next year, I believe. But this year, a 12-team playoff would be one of the greatest things you've ever seen. It would be absolutely incredible. We would get Oregon, Washington, maybe a third time if they play in the Pac-12 championship game. Maybe we get OU, Texas for a third time. I don't know, but we're going to get 12 teams that deserve to be in there, that can definitely win a national title. This year, I think there's 12 teams that can definitely have a shot at winning a national championship. That's how many teams are just, wow. Just a lot of good football is being played this year. And I don't think it's because there's not a great team. I think there's a lot of great teams this year. I really think that's what it's come down to. And this year's going to be sad because there's going to be a few teams that I think are going to get left out. And these past 2 weekends show us why we need a 12-team playoff, guys. One, it gives us more college football. Who would say no to that? Why would you ever want to say no to that? We get more college football. That's good for everybody. More college football is always good for everybody. Okay? And 2, OU and Texas, Oregon and Washington, you cannot tell me that if those teams played those games again, I think it's 50-50 every time they go out there and play. I think OU's winning 50 times against Texas. Texas winning 50 times against OU in a 100-time set. Same with Oregon and Washington. You can't convince me that those teams aren't evenly matched, and if they went out and played for a third time, if they were even both times, they could end in a 20-20 tie. I don't know. But those teams are so good that they all deserve a chance in the postseason, in a playoff format, to go win a national championship. They deserve it. Those kids deserve it. Those guys deserve it. And it'll be glorious to watch a 12-team playoff. It would be glorious this year. Unfortunately, the world hates us, and we don't get it. We don't get a 12-team playoff this year, which is unfortunate for everybody. It's unfortunate for us fans, and it sucks. So these last 2 weeks, and Penn State, Ohio State's probably going to prove the same thing. We need a 12-team playoff bad. We need it badly, okay? Now, let me take a sip, and then we'll get into the What If Poll, fan favorite segment. All right, What If Poll. Here we go, baby. Let's get right into it. A lot of movement. 4 teams dropping out of the What If Poll this week. All right, first up, number 24, UCLA. We're dropping them 7. Now, they lost to a good Oregon State team, but if you remember in my preview show, I said, is Dante Moore going to make more mistakes? Dante makes more mistakes. That was the headline. And he did. He made a lot of mistakes in this game, just like I said he would. He's a true freshman. That's what they do. They make mistakes. Can't fault him for it, but he did what I said he would do, and we're going to drop him 7. Still, I think they're a top 24 team, but we're dropping them to 24. Now, Iowa Hawkeyes, they're moving up too. Weren't in the poll last week, but they beat a good Wisconsin team on the road. That defense is incredible. Offense still is abysmal, but that defense is good enough to win a national championship if they have any semblance of an offense out there. They could win a natty. Okay, but they're not going to because their offense is bad. Number 22, USC Trojans. Okay, we're dropping them 8. I've been down on the USC Trojans for a while now. I've dropped them way before the AP poll, way before every other poll in the country, because I saw this coming. And we dropped them 8 for what they did against Notre Dame. Now, some of you may be saying, Ian, didn't you pick USC? I picked them to cover. You're right. I was wrong there. I was wrong. I thought Caleb Williams would actually play good, and he didn't. So USC dropping 8. They're terrible. All right, here we go. Louisville Cardinal. We're dropping them 10. We're dropping them 10 because they lost to a 1-4 Pittsburgh, whatever the Pittsburgh Panthers are, whatever they are. That's not a good football team, and you went out there and you lost to them after you beat Notre Dame. It's really sad. I didn't like what I saw. it was tough to watch, tough to see the updates, and it hurt me in my soul. Okay, Louisville Cardinals, dropping them 10. Up 5 from unranked last week, we got the Missouri Tigers. That offense, Luther Burden, that quarterback, Brady Cook, if they didn't lose to LSU earlier this year, guys, I mean, I think sneaky Heisman, that dude's playing some really good football. Missouri Tigers, I think they might be Georgia's toughest test coming down the stretch this year, and they're a good football team. All right, number 19, up 3 from last week. We got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Defense is still very good. I said it was very good in the preview show. I don't know why I doubted them. Excuse me, I burped there. Got to be honest, I burped. No big deal. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Up 3 from last week. Good football team. Offense is still not good, guys. But that defense is good enough to put them in games and win them games. So we're moving them up. Tennessee Volunteers. I don't like where they're at, but I have them right here, so I can't really say much. But I moved them up 6 because they beat A&M, and I think A&M's a good defensive team. So anytime you can beat a top 5 defensive team, which I think A&M is, they got a very good defense. We're gonna move them up. All right, new to the what if poll. First time all year. We got the Air Force. I don't even know what their mascot is. The Fighter Jets or whatever. Air Force, a very good football team. They went out there, beat Wyoming this weekend, up 8 from unranked. I mean, these guys, Service Academy, let's get it done. I mean, let's go undefeated. Let's get you in the playoff. That would be so cool. 12-team playoff. They could be in if they win out. Just saying. Air Force, very good football team. Duke, number 16 in the country, up 2 from last week. They went out there and their defense did what they've done all year, and it's hold teams to little to no points. So Duke, still a good football team, up 2. LSU Tigers. Wow. Okay. All right. I've got to apologize for what I've said about the Tigers all year long. You guys are a good football team. You're a good football team. Defense still isn't great. I mean, Auburn's offense is no good, but the offense, Jaden Daniels, is incredible at football. Honestly, guys, he reminds me, when I watch him play football, he reminds me of what Kyler Murray was for OU back there in 2018. That's what he reminds me of. The guy's just running around, just dancing back there, and he's just throwing the ball well. It's fun to watch. I really like watching him play, and it's been an enjoying time for me watching that guy play football. If they don't lose a couple games in the year, he's the Heisman frontrunner. He is. He's incredible. All right, top 14 here. Top 14, number 14 in the country. We got the Utah Utes. All right, up 2 from last week. They put it on UCLA this weekend. That defense continues to be amazing. When they get Cam Rising back, guys, they're a top 10 football team in the country. They are. When they get him back, if they ever get him back. I don't know if they're ever going to get him back. It sucks, but they're up 2, number 14. Ole Miss, they were on a bye. Up 1 from last week. Good football team, number 13 in the country. Alabama, I moved him up 1. Could have dropped him. Should have dropped him. But Arkansas is a good football. Arkansas's lost all of their one-possession games this year, guys. Except for 1, I believe. So Arkansas plays people tough, and they just lose. So they play Alabama tough, and they lost. Stinks, but Alabama up 1. Oregon State up 1. Good win for Oregon State. Like what I saw. Good football team. They're doing what they need to do. DJU, playing good football. All right, let's get into the top 10 here. I guess you already see number 10, Oregon. I dropped them 2. Now, do they deserve to be in the top 9? No. They lost the top 9. Very good football teams. Oregon, I dropped them 2. I still think they're incredible at football, and you're going to see what I think about them later in the predictions here. All right, number 9 team in the country. We've got the Florida State Seminoles. I didn't move them at all. They stayed where they were, and I like where they're at. Now, some of you may be saying, Ian, you need to move them up. They've been playing good football the last couple weeks, and they have. They played really good football yesterday. However, I'm not buying it yet. They disappointed me too many times this year against the spread, so we're keeping them at number 9. Now, new to the top 8, North Carolina Tar Heels, up 2. Wow. This is a good football team. Now, I said they would smoke Miami, and really, if you watch that game, it was close in the third quarter. Then Miami went up by like 28, and then North Carolina went up by like 28, and then they let Miami get back into the game. So they were blowing them out. Drake May, very good at football. Devontae Walker, very good at football. Finally, this guy gets to play after the NCAA let him. He's fun to watch. They're very good. North Carolina, You better watch out for them, Florida State in the ACC championship game. You better watch out for North Carolina. All right, up one from last week. Didn't play last week, but we moved up to Texas Longhorns. I still think they're a very good football team. I could have dropped them for not playing, but I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt. So we're moving them up. All right, down one from last week. Georgia Bulldogs. What are we doing against Vanderbilt here, guys? You got to start playing better football against inferior opponents, okay? Now, against a ranked team, you go out there and you beat them by 100. But against Vanderbilt, one of the worst teams in the country, you go out there and beat them by 17. What are we doing? What are we doing, Kirby Smart? Make me want to pick you every week, okay? I don't know what to do with you guys. Number 5 team in the country, down one from last week. Now, it's the Penn State Nittany Lions. Some of you may be saying, Ian, they won 63-0. Well, they also played UMass, okay? So I don't really care what they did against UMass. They were going to win. I don't really care. So moving them down one, mainly because of what Washington did. So we had to make room for Washington up here. All right, let's get to the top 4. Top 4, if the playoffs happen right now, this is what I think it should be. We've got Ohio State at number 4, down one from last week, mainly because of Washington. We've got Michigan at number 3 because of what Washington did. And new to the top 2, joining OU, we've got Washington at number 2, up 4 from last week. OU didn't play on a bye. We're keeping it at number 1. So why is OU ahead of Washington? Now, if you've seen the AP poll, hopefully you haven't because you should be waiting for the what if poll. It's a better system here with the algorithm we have, my brain. OU has the best win in the country. Texas is a better win than Oregon. And OU was at a neutral site game. Washington was at home against Oregon. So that's really my reasoning for having OU ahead of Washington still. I think it's a better win. I think Texas is a better win. And that's really the only reason. I don't know what the AP poll voters are doing. I don't know how you can have Washington ahead of OU at this point in time. Because from what I saw, Oregon was a better football team. Washington got the win, but Oregon was a better football team. So, but we're putting Washington at number 2 because they beat Oregon. They beat them. They beat what I thought was a better football team. So good for Washington. Congrats to you guys joining the top 2. OU Washington right now. I mean, I can't wait for the rest of this season, guys. Let's get into some of my predictions. Here. Let's throw this guy away. We actually need him, so don't throw him away just yet. All right, what are the predictions here? Pac-12 championship game. We're going Oregon-Washington. We're running it back in a few months. And who's going to win this one? It's going to be a neutral site game. I think Oregon wins this one. And I think they avenge their only loss on the year. And I think the Ducks get revenge on Washington. Big 12 championship game. OU versus Texas. There's nobody else in the Big 12, guys. It's OU and Texas up here, and then it's whoever the third best team in the Big 12 is. It doesn't matter who it is because they're not very good. So OU Texas running it back. As of right now, I think OU wins that football game. So OU, do they go undefeated? I don't know, but they win the Big 12 against Texas. Beat them twice in a year. Just typical stuff for OU because they continued their dominance over Texas. Okay, Big 10 championship game. Who do we got? Now? Big 10, stupid divisions they have up there. We're not going to get Michigan Ohio State 2 or Michigan Penn State 2 or Penn State Ohio State 2 or Penn State, whoever 2. But instead we're going to get Michigan Ohio State or Penn State versus Iowa. That's what we're going to get, and that's what the Big 10's serving up to us on a platter. Unfortunately, so I think we're going to get Michigan versus Iowa. And I think Michigan's going to win that game, obviously, because Iowa has no offense. So that's the Big 10, Michigan. SEC championship game. I think it's just the same old here, guys. We got Bama versus Georgia. Now, LSU, they could do it again. They could make a run here. But I think it's pretty clearly Bama and Georgia right now. I think those are the 2 top teams in the SEC. And right now I would pick Georgia, so I think Georgia's going to win it. So I think Georgia goes 3 times in a row, SEC championships. Then we got the ACC championship, guys. This is the funnest one, I think, coming down the stretch. This one and the Pac-12, I think, are the funnest to talk about because there's more teams involved in the rest of these conferences. So for the ACC championship game right now, I have Florida State and North Carolina. That's what I think it's going to be. And I think both of these teams are going to drop a game before they get to the championship game, before they get to the ACC championship game. But I think when they get there, it's going to be Florida State and North Carolina, and I think North Carolina is going to pull it off, and they're going to win the ACC. They're going to win the ACC. I think Drake May's the best quarterback in that conference, and I think it's going to come down to him, and I think he's going to get it done. So those are my conference championship picks. We've got 1-loss Oregon. We're going to have undefeated OU. We're going to have undefeated Michigan, and we're going to have undefeated Georgia. And then we're going to have 1-loss North Carolina winning for ACC. All right, so that leads us to the playoffs. What's going to happen in the playoffs, guys? Well, if we had a 12-team playoff, we would have most likely all of those teams in it, and it would be fantastic, and we'd get to see them play again. And that would be great for us, great for viewers, great for everybody, because it'd be fun. But playoffs right now, we only get 4 of them. Georgia, I think if they go undefeated, which I think they're going to, I think they're going to be number 1 seed. They're going to be the number 1 seed. Number 2 seed, we're going to have Michigan if they go undefeated. Number 3 seed, we're going to have OU if they go undefeated, which they're going to, just like Michigan and just like Georgia. So that's your top 3 seeds. Now, this 4th seed is, from what I think is going to happen, is going to be interesting, because we're going to have 1 loss Florida State. We're going to have 1 loss North Carolina, ACC Championship North Carolina though, and we're going to have 1 loss Washington, who lost in the big Pac-12 championship against Oregon, who lost to them in the regular season. So we've got 4 teams vying for 1 spot now. If we had a 12-team playoff, just put them all in, let them play again. And that would be the best. That would be the best, and it would be awesome. However, we don't. We get 1 spot for 18 teams, okay? And in all these scenarios, I think you have to let Oregon in. They avenged their 1 loss on the year against a very good Washington team, likely a top 4 team at that point in the country, at that point in the season. So I think we're having Georgia versus Oregon, Michigan versus OU, and I think we get Georgia, OU in the national championship game. A little bit of a rematch from 2018. Sorry about that, OU fans. But I think OU gets their revenge. Brent Venables in year 2 with the Sooners wins the national championship. And as you know, if you've been following the show for a while, if you haven't, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Don't leave now. You may think I'm crazy for having OU here, but before the season started, I was talking to people. I said OU's going to win the national championship. And I wasn't just saying that because I was just wanting to be bold, but I was saying that because I believed it. I still believe it. And that's where I have them. I have them beating Georgia in the national championship, giving Georgia their first loss in 3 years. So OU win the national championship. As of right now, that's the pick. In a few weeks, we may update these. But right now, this is what it looks like. All right. Picks recap. Just a little brief recap here, guys. Last week, week 7, we went 10-8. Winning week, another winning week. And it's good to win. We're bouncing back after a losing week last week. But we won 10-8 week 7. Overall, that brings the record to 61 and 51.5. So 10 games above 500. We got some wiggle room, and I like where we're at. I can't wait to pick more games. I'm having fun seeing how I'm doing, and hopefully you guys are having fun deciding if you're going to pick the same game as me or disagree with me. Whatever you guys want to do in the comments, do it. If you want to disagree with me about my predictions for the rest of the year, do that. That'll be cool. If you want to disagree with some things I said about Dan Lanning in Oregon or Washington, do what you guys want to do. I'll have some conversation with you in the comments. Like the video. If you guys wouldn't mind, subscribe. Get your grandma's phone. Subscribe on her phone. Turn it on for her while she's taking a nap. Let her watch the video. That would be fun as well. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the Week 8 preview show, Ohio State, Penn State. We got that to look forward to. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson.
20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45.